Okay, so CMS is a content management system, as the name suggests. So let me write it so that there are no issues. Manage content management system. Okay, and as the name suggests, this software is used to manage content. Okay, this is CMS. Now, what type of content? So when I say content, what is content, right? So content can be of any types. It could just be data, it could be user information, okay, it could be schedules, could be workflows, okay, and so on, etc. Okay, so a workflow, when does a workflow come in? Salesforce.com, okay, it is technically a CRM system. So CRM is a very specific type of CMS. Okay, what a CRM does is it allows us to build a custom what is it? CRM is customer relationship management. Okay, tool which helps us keep in touch with our customers. Okay, at the end of the day, what we are doing is we are storing the content of our customers. Okay, and then we are also building a workflow process in which we can keep in touch with our customers. Okay, so that is the workflow process. Okay, so Salesforce as an example, or any CRM system as an example, is a content management system. Okay, so now the next question is, what are the popular CMSs in PHP? The most popular one is Drupal, and the next one is called Joomla. Okay, so if you all go to dice.com as an example, and let's just try something. So we'll say PHP. Okay, so assume, so this is pretty much like a test to see if any of the top 10, okay, have Drupal in them. So this one doesn't. Go back. So I know this one doesn't because it says Zen framework. Okay, now so even this one has Zen framework, so we can go to the next one.
If I mean,
Yeah,
if you have Zend, is there a rule that you can know Drupal?
no, yeah, yes, it's not a rule, but it's more of a convention. I mean, if you're already using one, you cannot use another one because it's too much stuff in the same project. They probably might use it in a different project, but they cannot use that in the same project because they are already using Zen.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so here they are asking for something called Magento. Okay, so Magento is another content management system, but it's a very tough content management system. The uh, the trajectory, or like the way, I mean the curve to learn, is very steep. So the number of people who know Magento are handful. Okay, so these people can try their luck if they want a PHP guy and who should have a green card or has to be a citizen. So I am pretty sure this position will not be completed very soon. So here, let's see if this one has Drupal. Okay, so this one doesn't have it too. So probably it looks like Drupal is not very famous these days. That's not good. Let's be specific. So let's say, oh, Okay, so when I just put in Drupal, the there are a good amount of jobs. There are 497 jobs. Okay, and let's see how many jobs were posted. Oh, so 497 jobs were posted in the last 30 days. Let's see how many jobs were posted in the last 7 days. So 377 jobs were posted in the last 7 days. So Drupal is still a popular tool. Uh, so an example of a Drupal requirement will look something like this, where they would say proficiency of Drupal 6 and 7. We'll talk about Drupal 6 and 7. Okay. The next thing is strong PHP skills, which you all already will have at the end of this course. Okay. And then HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, you already all have it. Okay. The next thing is having a familiarity with source code, source control. Okay. So source control, do you all have any idea what source control is?
Yeah, VMS was the old one. I don't know what is the new ones, new versions that are going on. Source control tools.
Okay. So source control is a way of for sharing code. That's the first one. When you are working in a team, sharing code is very important. The second thing is making sure that your box doesn't have doesn't have to work all the time. Assume that somebody spilled coffee or you dropped your laptop on the ground. At that point, the company cannot lose the code. So for that reason, what people do, or what all of the software industry does, is use something called as a source control to uh, make sure that the code has been pushed onto a company server. And if something happens on the company server, then company is liable for it and not you. And the popular ones are Subversion and Git. Okay, both of them are pretty simple, so nothing to worry. Okay, so then, yeah, again, see, these are all stuff that everybody does. Okay, takes pride and all that crap. So the next thing is developing and integrating customized models. So we'll actually go through this part in the next 2-3 days. So let me ask you all. So will you all be available tomorrow and on Saturday? If it is a yes,
Yes.
then I can actually continue with Drupal. If it's a no, then we'll have to think about
I am
something.
available. I am available.
Perfect. Okay. So this is a basic example of a Drupal requirement. Okay. So at the same time, put this in and check out other requirements. It's again, like I said, it's pretty famous, and and there are a lot of jobs out there. Okay. The other one is Joomla. We'll briefly go over Joomla, but more focus will be put on Drupal. Okay. Now, yeah. So now Drupal.org, okay, is the website where you all can download the newest version of Drupal. Okay. You all would go to download and extend. Okay. Now, so 7.23 seems to be the current stable version. Okay. So there are two versions that are available for Drupal. Okay, Drupal 6 and Drupal 7. Both of them are completely different. Okay, so the biggest difference is this is procedural. Okay, and this is object oriented, and is powered by PHP 5.3. And this is this works with any PHP. Okay, long story short, what people expect is for you all to understand or have an idea at least of what is Drupal 6, how it is, and what is Drupal 7 and how it is. Okay. So if you all want to experiment or take a look at Drupal 6, go ahead and click this link. Okay. What I would rather do is I would download both the copies. Okay. Have them installed on different virtual host. Okay, I'll call it Drupal6.com and Drupal7.com locally, and see how different are these two things. Not just in terms of the UI, but in terms of code. Okay, UI is pretty simple. Anybody can work UI around, but the important part is obviously the code, right? So now, once you click on Drupal, oh, you know what? You can even download it from here. Interesting. So what I would do is, now what we get is a tar.jz file, or you could even use a zip if you are using Windows. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go to www. Okay. Now let's run our fancy create app command, and let's see if this works. Awesome, that worked. Okay. So now what I have is
What's
a
this? What's
uh,
there on that app? Create app dot sh.
so this was the shell
Bash
script.
script. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was the shell script that I had created, and I remember that I've sent this over to you all. So these are the requirements for the shell script. First, it has to create the directory. Second, it has to add an index.php file. Then it has to echo the app name into the index.php file. Okay. Then it has to create a virtual host. Okay. A basic virtual host, and then it has to put in the new, I mean, the application's name into the virtual host, and then it has to activate the virtual host. Later, once the virtual host is added and it is activated, we'll have to add the application to the host file and then restart Apache. Okay.
Hmm.
uh, so yeah, I mean, rather than doing it step by step, what I've done is, uh, I've made it into a script. I mean, honestly speaking, I make it into a script every training session, just so everybody understands how we can automate stuff. This is a very basic shell script. There are much bigger shell scripts that you all would have to work with once you get into a real company. Uh, but again, see, that is the best part. You will actually learn, you'll actually challenge yourself, you'll struggle, and then you'll succeed. Okay. So Drupal 7. So now we don't need the index.php file. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let's just test if everything's working though. Index.php. So okay. So now all we'll have to do is we'll have to go here and we'll have to do this. It doesn't look like it's working. Awesome. So now let's debug and see what exactly happened. First thing would be to ping and see what's going on. Drupal7.com. So it is hitting localhost. So I guess I know why. If I'll do this, okay. So there should be a small change. Okay.
Alias.
Yeah, exactly. So there should be a very small change to the host file. Okay, where you just say even at this thing to the script, and that's it. See, this is how simple it is. You make something, something doesn't work, you redo it, and something else doesn't work, and so on. So it's pretty awesome. Oh, by the way, people call it SDLC. Okay, SDLC is Software Development Lifecycle. So if anybody asks you if you have been through a complete SDLC, at that point they are referring to Software Development Lifecycle. Okay, so these are the kind of terms that people look for.
But
Yeah.
PHP is more like agile, right? It can be waterfall or whatever. I mean, which kind of development cycle you usually have
Okay.
SDLCs?
So software can be any piece of code. Okay, any piece of code can be developed in a methodology. Okay, method is right. Okay, oh, it is right. Okay, so SDLC, software development lifecycle. Software can be any piece of code. Code, okay, can be developed using any methodology. Okay, what are the existing methodologies?
Waterfall, agile. There's
Exactly,
another one.
waterfall, agile,
Something else.
TDD. Okay, this is test driven development. Okay, there is another popular methodology in agile. Okay, one of them is pair programming. Okay, to get everything done very quickly. I don't think it's an agile method, but yeah, I think it's no, it's not. Okay, so the other popular method in which follows agile and which you will
Scrum.
probably hear is a scrum. Okay,
Yeah.
scrum is where you will have very short uh, time periods or periods of working schedule, and it is called a sprint. Okay, and every sprint would have a regular sprint meeting either once in a day or once in 2 days or once in a week and so on, where you all would discuss two things. Okay, accomplishments and obstacles. Okay, uh, see these words might sound a little overboard or exaggerated, but trust me, unless you use these words, people will not give you the respect that a senior developer would deserve. Okay, so make sure that irrespective of how make sure that how irrespective of how much knowledge you have, it is how much you show off gets you more respect. Okay, uh, so yeah, so these terms are very important: ASDLC methodologies, waterfall, agile, scrum, TDD, and so on. Okay, and if you all are interested, there are a few more, which is extreme programming. Okay, and then there is pair programming and other nonsense. Okay, and
They
see,
all sound more like a workout program than, development programs or whatever.
fair enough. Yeah, yeah. At least these two sound so. Um, yeah. So how did we get to this one though? Oh yeah. So I was talking about things breaking and how we fix stuff. Okay. So now yeah. So our virtual host works. Okay, is working fine. Now the next thing is to unpack the tar package. Okay. To so here. Oh, first we'll have to get the tar package. Okay. So for that I'm using wget. Okay, wget is to get a file. Okay, so now it's pretty quick. So we'll get a tar package. Okay, okay, now we'll untar the tar package, or like people call it tarball. Okay, so we are untarring the tarball, and for that we'll use tar minus xvzf, which would be Drupal 7. Okay, and now all that we'll do is we'll move Drupal 7 uh, dot 23 to Drupal 7. Okay, so since we virtualhost is already created for that, you know what? Something happened. Oh, okay, so it's Drupal 7. Okay, so give me
Yeah,
one
no,
minute.
no dash.
Yeah. Okay, so now that uh, yeah, so now if we go into Drupal 7, we should see. Oh, that happened. CD Drupal 7 to Drupal 7. Damn. So another way of doing this is we'll do this, we'll copy everything, or rather move everything, okay, to the current folder. That works. Now we can remove Drupal 7. That doesn't work. We'll just do remove directory. It's not empty, so let's see what's in that directory. I thought it moved everything. Okay, so if you all notice, it looks like Drupal uses Git. Okay, if they used svn, there would be a .svn file. Okay, so let's move these files one folder up. Okay, now this has to be technically empty, so let's see if we can delete it. See, now we can delete it. Awesome. So now what we'll have to do is, I mean, what I would suggest you all to do is go through, it looks, yeah, go through the readme text. Okay, let's just to understand what is Drupal expecting you to do and what are the steps of installation. Okay, so once you all understand what are the steps of installation and other fancy stuff, you all would have a better understanding. Okay, but since I already know, what I will do is I'll go to index.php. Okay, and then it pushes me to install.php. Okay, again, whenever you download it, go through the readme.php file, readme.txt file. The reason I know that I'll have to go to index.php or install.php for that matter is because I've read through that file and I've worked with Drupal 7. But since you haven't worked with it, make sure that you read the documentation. Okay, so here we will not make any changes, we'll just go through with what it says. It's a simple wizard. We'll have to build a database though, and in the meantime we'll also have to do a few other things. Okay, okay, so the first thing that we'll have to do is, it says that we'll have to install GD. Okay, so GD is an image library. Okay, so for that what we'll have to do is, let's see if this exists. Yeah, so we'll have to use apt get to install GD. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll copy, so I'm copying it and I'll send it to you all so that you all have an idea of what to install. And there might be other packages that are probably installed on mine and that are not installed on yours. So look for the errors that show up here. Okay, now if I refresh the, okay, so let me restart Apache and see if that makes a difference. Yeah, so yeah, once you install a PHP module, you will have to what is it, refresh Apache or restart Apache for it to reload. Okay, the next thing it says is the file system or the directory does not exist. Okay, and then it continues to say that an automated attempt to create this directory failed, possibly due to a permissions problem. Okay, so now can anybody tell me what does this error mean, and or what is the problem with this error, or how would we solve this error? I mean, if you all tell me what is the issue, that is good, but if you all tell me how to solve this problem, it is awesome. Come on, show off your awesomeness.
By giving ownership uh, instead of admin to all of them.
To what? To instead of
By
admin to
giving
who?
like all others. I mean,
Who? So
it's
who
admin and
come?
other,
I
right?
think
If you
your directory permissions have to be changed.
Okay, so both are close. Okay, all that we'll have to do is we'll just have to change the owner. Okay, from root. Okay, not to others. Okay, we'll have to change the owner to the web server. Why? This is being run by the web server. Okay, any action that is done on any operating system has to be done by a user. In this case, the user is the web server. Okay, so for the web server to do what it has to do, we'll have to give the ownership of this folder to web server. Now, how would we give ownership to a user in Linux?
Ownership change mod? No. Yeah.
I couldn't hear you.
Is it not change mod?
Change mode is to change
Oh,
permissions.
okay, okay,
Okay,
permission. Okay.
for ownership we'll do chown. Okay,
Chown. Sorry.
in here,
I meant to say chown only.
yeah, so here, since Drupal 7 has subfolders, we'll use the recursive. Okay, again, if there are any questions, all you'll have to do is man chown. Okay, and all you'll do is grep insensitively or case insensitive for recursive, and that's see that's that simple. It gives you -r. Okay, so all you'll have to do is chown -r. www data, I've already mentioned this, is the user for web server on Debian systems, which are Ubuntu, Lubuntu, and Xubuntu, and so on. If you all are using a Red Hat system, either CentOS or Red Hat, Linux, or Fedora, at that point it will be Apache. Okay, and the folder name is Drupal 7. Easy enough. Now www data holds the permissions. Let's see if it is able to do what it has to do. Awesome. So everything worked. Okay, so that was that simple, right? So the next step is it is looking for a database. Okay, it says that the type of your database should the type of database your Drupal will be stored in. Your PHP configuration only supports single database type, so it has been automatically selected. Okay, and so on. So, and it is looking for a database name, a database username, and a database password. Okay, so now what we'll have to do is we'll say user root -p admin. Okay, so we'll create a database, call it Drupal 7. That's it. We'll just exit and we'll just put in Drupal 7 root admin. And there are other options that we can give, assuming that this is on a remote server. Okay, assume that you are working on Amazon cloud. Okay, at that point you might have your web server on one box, or real time. This is how it works. Real time, everything does not live on one system. Okay, web server lives on one system and the database lives on another system. Okay, so at that point you'll have to give in the database host. At the same time, assume you are working on a shared hosting. In a shared hosting, it is not for sure that uh, your MySQL instance is running on port 3306, which is the default port. There might be another port, say 5007 or 10001. At that point, you will give in the database port. The third case is the table prefix. Okay, or the third thing is the table prefix. Table prefix would only show up if you have multiple databases, multiple instances of Drupal running in the same database. Assume that you have e-commerce dot you have one Drupal application, okay, which has e-commerce information. You have another uh, application which has I don't know, boutique information. Okay, and if due to any reason or if due to lack of permissions, if you are using a single database for everything, at that point table prefix is is required. Again, the only reason here is uh, again shared hosting. Okay, in shared hosting you do not have access to the database or creation of database. At that point you'll have to use the table prefix. Okay, so long story short, create a database, give in your database username and password. Okay, now hit save and continue. And then it does the magic on the back end. All it does, it installs everything, it does whatever it has to, and it gives you the next item, which would be, say, okay, so given a site address. Okay, and since this is uh, what is it, this is a test instance, given all the information that you like. Okay, um, so it's like a basic profile creation. Okay, and New York, so it got the right time zone. Again, save and continue. That's it. That's how simple Drupal installation is. Okay, and now you have your own Drupal instance installed. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll actually stop here, or I'll actually do one more thing. Okay, now we talked about adding content, right? So we talked about adding content. Okay, so let me quickly add a piece of content so that you all can see how simple it is to add content. Okay, Drupal already comes with two things. One is a basic page and the other is an article. None of them are used, so don't worry about it. We'll create new content types. Okay, but if you want to use an existing content type, all you do is click on one. You'll say hello world, because this is a Drupal hello world. This is my first page in Drupal. Okay, and then you'll scroll down. Okay, and then you'll save. Simple. If you go to home, interestingly, content should have been there. So we'll look at the reason why content is not showing up on this page, but technically content should have been there. But never mind, if the content is not there, we already have a find content tab which would take us to our hello world page. Okay, so this is that simple. It says hello world. You also have a title. Okay, the meta tag which says hello world, and then all you will say is this is the information that you gave in. Okay, so now look at it this way. You have, I mean, a few websites, just so you all know, that actually use Drupal are drross.com, Houston Chronicle, okay, New York Times, and so on. There are a lot of big MTV networks. Okay, so there are a lot of uh, big companies which actually use Drupal. Okay, so Drupal is a very powerful content management system, and it's very extendable. It's very open ended, so we can do a lot of stuff with Drupal. Okay, so this is
I
where
have
I'll
a
stop
quick
and open it up for questions. Yeah,
question, sorry.
yeah.
Okay, we have our content here. Through web services, do you call it onto your own website? What is happening here? I'm missing the link.
What web services?
I mean, what exactly are you doing with Drupal? I mean,
Awesome.
CMS, I understand content management system and all that.
Yeah,
You have your content hosted here, but what is your end goal with it? I mean, I'm missing that link. I don't know if you already
good.
mentioned it.
Very good. So let's go to doctors.com and let's see what is doctors.com doing. Okay, okay. Now see this here. Now this is a type of content. Okay. Now if I go here, it says slideshow slash title. Okay. Now I'll go back and let's pick an episode. Okay. Now here, if I go to this one, it says episode slash title again. Okay, so I mean, where I'm getting to is everything is a piece of content. An episode is a piece of content, a slideshow is a piece of content, a recipe is a piece of content, a gallery is a piece of content, and so on. Now, to answer your question specifically, what can we do with Drupal? Okay, again, assume that you do not have time to build every page, or the company that you work with is so dynamic that all they can give you are high level requirements, saying that I want episode page to look like this, I want slideshow page to look like it. Okay, and you will have to provide them an interface for creating an episode page. You will have to provide them an interface for creating a slideshow page, or for example, let's go to Houston Chronicle. Okay, Houston Chronicle is another famous website. Okay, which actually which uses Drupal. Okay, oh, by the way, even whitehouse.gov uses Drupal. And again, the only reason that companies use Drupal or anybody uses Drupal is to create content on the fly. I shouldn't have to wait, or they wouldn't want to wait for a developer to create the page and wait for the whole development cycle to go on. Because if you have to create a page, if if there is a breaking news that comes out, okay, at that point they will not have time for us to create pages and push it out. They want the capacity to do it on the fly. Okay, or just like another blogging engine. Okay, you're not building the page from the ground up, you're creating content, and the page is built by the system. Did that give you any clarity?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, so what I would suggest is install Drupal today.
So
Okay,
you basically are not just doing the whole HTML and CSS JavaScript thing and just
we will, honestly speaking, we will, because we will have to customize the way it looks. Okay, but the good point is we will not have to
so
do
just
it
for
for
the content. I mean, you just do the layout outside and put the content dynamically from here. Is that it?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
because if you have to create, see again, if you would have to create this page in HTML, how much time would it have taken? X amount of time, right? Now
Yeah.
what I'll do is, while I'm talking, I'll create another page. Okay, I'll say now this is an article, I'll say test article, I'll call it test, and this one is a fancy autocomplete. Okay, I'll say this is a test article. Okay, and then all I'll do is I'll just say save. Okay, and then I'll go to home page. So okay, see, articles show up. Okay, so if I click is, now there is a test article, and I'm also allowing people to add a comment. Okay, and remember I mentioned that you all should complete the project in like a few weeks before we end the session. The reason I
Mm-hmm.
said that is, in the last few weeks I wanted us to go over content management systems and allow you all to tweak your application in a way that it mocks a content management system. But even now it's not late. If you are all still working on the projects, finish it and see if you can tweak Drupal 7 to build the same project. uh, because again, the more you work, the more you know, the more you get to talk about, because confidence comes with mm, amount of knowledge. How confident you are would only reflect if you have a lot to talk about. So what I would suggest is learn more, spend more time, and everything would be easy. But yeah, long story short, Drupal allows us to add content on the fly. So it's
Yes,
more of a
yes.
CMS system. And what Drupal allows is for us to add something called modules, okay, to bring in more functionality. which we'll be doing that in the next in tomorrow's session. Okay, where we'll actually add a few different content types, because all that we have seen are articles and basic pages. Tomorrow, let us say build a basic e-commerce form. Okay, where what is it? You get to choose a product. Okay, let's say we have three products. We'll choose a product from the from it and place an order. Okay, and let's see how that is done. Does that make sense? So at that point, what we are going to do is we are going to place an order. Order here is the content type.
Okay, sir.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Do you all have any questions?
Yeah, just one silly question maybe. As we have created a new database for Drupal, can we use our own old database?
Um, use old database for what?
Like we went to MySQL and then we created a Drupal 7,
Yeah,
right? Right. Instead of creating that, can we use our old what we have?
yeah, of course.
Okay.
So, but I mean, why I would avoid that is, unless you have a space constraint, I would not want to share my database with any other application, or unless you have a privilege constraint. The reason being, why is a database used for? A database is used to encapsulate and group the data specific to an application. So my preference is to keep all of them in the same database. So that is the main reason why anybody would create a new database. But I
Okay.
mean, if you want to go with the
Yeah,
same
that
database, you
just
can
want
do
to
that too.
ask you that.
Yeah, yeah, you should be able to.
I probably can figure that I probably can figure that I mean why you created a new database, but like I just want to make sure that if we can use the full database as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm see again. This is a guess. I've never tried it. Uh, but yeah, go ahead and try it. I think it should work. But if you are putting them in an existing database, make sure that you give a table name, okay, or a table or a namespace, so that all your tables are created with a with a predefined namespace. So assume that your application is USC, okay. So given USC underscore. So any Drupal table that is created would be USC underscore something,
Okay, got you.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions? None. Okay. So okay, make sure that you all go through Drupal basics that we have done today. These are not even basics. This is more of an intro. So go ahead and install Drupal 7, play with it, and if everything works fine, we'll come back tomorrow and we'll create a new content type for making a product request, okay, or making an order, okay.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Yes, you say?
yeah, okay. So I'll see you all tomorrow, 8 p.m. EST. Okay,
Okay. Good night.
thank you.